To call the meeting to order, if you'll all please rise for invocation by Supervisor Watson and the Pledge of Allegiance by Supervisor Sockwell.
Heavenly Father, we are quickly approaching the end of the year and are thankful for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We ask that you continue to keep our nation under your care and provide a clear vision of your will to our leaders. Please guide us as we consider the merits of each item that is placed before us today. We pray for peace within ourselves and throughout the world. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion to call for an executive session to be held January 2nd, 2013 at 9 a.m.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Motion is second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Committee or legislative reports. Supervisor Sockwell, you have anything?
I have nothing this morning.
Supervisor Watson.
None this morning.
County Manager's report.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Johnson, Supervisor Watson, Supervisor Sockwell. I attended the county manager's meeting recently, and the County Supervisors Association is encouraging the county to pass a resolution to support the 2013 legislative priorities. There are actually three legislative priorities that they would like us to support, and we hope to pass a resolution in future meetings. One is to fully fund local HERF funds for counties. The second one is to reestablish payments to the counties reflecting their share of the state lottery revenues. And the third one is eliminate county payments to the Arizona State Hospitals for sexually violent prisoners. So we hope to present a resolution in your next meeting to support those legislative priorities.
We have a presentation of retirement plaque. Steve Latosky, our Public Works Director, would like to come forward, please.
Can we do the approval of the minute?
Oh, okay. While you're coming down, Steve, come on down. I need approval of the September 6th Board of Supervisors minutes.
So moved.
Motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Mr. Latosky.
Good morning, Chairman Johnson, Supervisor Watson, Supervisor Sockwell. Mohave County congratulates Art Hall on his retirement after 27 years of service and dedication to Mohave County through the Road Division of Public Works. Through his crew leader position, Art has continuously provided quality road maintenance services to county residents, and through Art's leadership, skill, and can-do attitude was the cornerstone of the crew's success. Art and his crew routinely faced new challenges in varied conditions in delivering superior services towards supporting countless road projects countywide. Mohave County thanks Art for his many years of service and commitment to enhance the lives of Mohave County residents served by the vast 2,000-mile Mohave County road maintenance system. With that, I would like to ask Mr. Art Hall to come up, and I believe we have a plaque to present.
You want to go down there, Tom?
Yeah.
Would you like to step up on the area up there?
Next is our consent. Items 5 through 51. Item 20 has been pulled. What? Another presentation? Oh my gosh. All right. Achievement of Excellence in Procurement awarded by the National Procurement Institute to the Mohave County Procurement Department.
Good morning, Chairman Johnson, Supervisors Watson and Sockwell. On January 16, 2012, National Procurement Institute awarded Mohave County its 8th annual consecutive Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award. Mohave County is one of only 15 government agencies in Arizona and one of only 41 counties in the United States to receive this award. The AEP recognizes organizational excellence in procurement. Public and nonprofit organizations earn the award by obtaining a high application score based on standardized criteria. The judging criteria are designed to measure innovation, professionalism, e-procurement, productivity, and leadership attributes of the procurement function. And on October 22nd, 2012, we had 2 of our procurement officers attend the NPI annual conference in Houston to receive the announcement of the award and also to get the award. So we're here to present it to Mohave County.
Guess we got to go down in front again.
Thank you.
All right, back to consent. Items 5 through 51 minus 20. Supervisor Sockwell, do you have anything you'd like to pull off the
I have nothing this morning.
Supervisor Watson?
None to pull
None?
today.
I would need a motion to approve items 5 through 51 minus 20.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 20. Do I have, is it back on the, is it pushed on the regular agenda? Yeah,
Right.
okay. All right, item number 52. I will open the public hearing, discussion, possible action, adoption, Board of Supervisors Resolution 2012-166, the zoning use permit, Triangle Air Park. I would invite Mr. Lance King forward to give us a slide presentation that will cover both agenda items 52 and 53.
Didn't we have we had a slide presentation last time. Is this just a duplication?
I'll ask him when he gets here. Is this the same slide presentation, sir, or do you have a new one for it? Pardon?
No, sir.
Got it, it's a new one.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors, good morning. Name's Lance Craig. I'm here on behalf of my brother Mark Craig. We're on behalf of Lot 317-54033. We also submitted for the written record our objections. We'd like to also request this PowerPoint presentation be entered as part of the record to further substantiate our continuing objections. So I have a title page here, basically outlines the Triangle Air Park. It's a planned community of 139 acres, 35 lots total. We have 28 lots in compliance, 5 lots with major substantial violations, 2 lots with minor violations. The nature of my presentation today suggests that enforcement of existing county ordinance must supersede endorsement of any proposed expanded lot usage. Allow me to please make my case. And I understand that the county doesn't intervene with inter-association contractual obligations, CC&Rs, but I would like to briefly cover our contractual heritage just to assist you in understanding the true nature of the association and the subdivision. Sirs, this is a Department of Real Estate final subdivision report, also known as a disclosure statement that every property owner must sign and understand prior to purchasing a lot and becoming part of this property owners association. It says prospective purchasers are advised to read to determine the rights of lot owners to participate in the control of the property owners association and to determine the rights, duties, and limitations of owners in and to the use of their lot. Developer advises that Boulder City Aero Club is a private club of members who love to fly. The membership acquired a parcel of desert land to hangar and store their airplanes. It advises on the special setbacks that are necessary for the safe operation of aircraft in and about the airport. It addresses restrictions and other matters of record. These restrictions and other matters of record, in part, are the Triangle Air Park original CC&Rs. Setbacks. Restrictions. No fence above the height of 1 foot shall be permitted within 10 feet of any property line common to a taxiway or runway. No building shall be constructed within 30 feet. That's for aircraft, transport, and safety. Here's the important one, Supervisors. Article 8, Section 1. It is the intention of the association to establish and impose a general plan for the improvement, development, use, and occupancy of the properties, all thereof, in order to enhance the value, desirability, attractiveness of the properties, and to subserve and promote the sale thereof. Storage containers. No unnecessary temporary house, trailer, tent, garage shall be placed or erected on any lot. Here's another biggie. Lots to be maintained. Each lot at all times shall be kept in a clean, sightly, and wholesome condition. No trash, junk, implements, machinery, lumber shall be permitted to remain exposed on any lot so that the same are visible from any neighboring lot or street. Now we go into the next phase of my presentation here, sirs. This is just a map of the lots that are currently in compliance, are the green checks. We have 2 yellow minor violations, and we have these 5 major or substantial violations. I'll give you a quick breakdown. We have 5 lots with approximately 221,000 square feet of outside storage right there. We have a major violation, 1 owner on 3 lots, approximately 210,000 square feet of outside storage. We have substantial violations, 2 owners, 2 lots, approximately 11,000 square feet of outside storage. I would like to add that 1 owner has made great progress in bringing his lot into compliance. Maybe it is already, I don't. With these minor violations, 2 owners, actually all this stuff belongs to one of the previously mentioned owners. About 2 hours, or 4 hours could clean up and bring these 2 lots into compliance. So just a quick summation. Total outside storage, sirs, is 226,000 square feet on 7 lots. And here's the kicker. We have 1 owner responsible for up to 218,000 square feet of this outside storage, or 96% of the total outside violations on 6 of the 7 lots in violation. We're here today, Supervisor, seeking a proposal to expand lot density at Triangle Air Park. We have 100% compliance of legitimate lot density at Triangle Air Park. Nobody's even close to going over. We're here today to seek an expansion on outside storage. We have 80% compliance on outside storage. I just shared with you that other 20% and a breakdown of who's responsible for that. We currently have 94% compliance on taxiway setbacks at the Triangle Air Park. One owner in violation accommodates that entire other 6%. We don't have a need for expanded lot usage, supervisors. We have a desperate need for enforcement before endorsement. Enforcement is in line with Arizona law and the association contractual mandates. Endorsement lies contrary to all of the above. In fact, it's my opinion that endorsement will only set the stage for massive migration of outside storage from lots now in violation to these newly expanded zones that the county is seeking to endorse, and we will have only compounded our problem. What will we have accomplished? All this stuff is going to migrate, or it could, from these lots to here, this lot, to this lot, to this lot, under these increased, expanded areas. I find it highly suspect at why we have these numbers of people up here seeking these expanded, when they don't have any junk. A lot of them have vacant lots. So I thought that might be one possibility. And so I appreciate your time, Tan. I'd just like to point out, I know that the opposition may jump up here and say that these CCNRs were done away with and we have new ones. And let me assure you, there's not a person in this room that could come up here and say that those original CCNRs have ever been lawfully changed. In fact, it is my opinion here today, they have not. But regardless, those CCNRs still match the county ordinance and the enforcement that we're seeking here today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Kathy Taggart Hicks.
Good morning, Honorable Chairman, Supervisors. My name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. I'm acting as the 24 property lot owners in this application. It was good to point out there are only 6 violations when there's actually 24 lots, property owners that would like this. There is nothing in our application. Remember, this is just the zoning use permit. He's addressed both of them, but it's disturbing the way it's all being presented. 24 property lot owners would like the zoning use permit to be approved as recommended and encouraged by county staff because they need this to firm up their airport use. Anyone in that Triangle Air Park would also like this. It's beyond me that they've taken this personal violation issue to also hurt themselves because they need the zoning use application to maintain their airport runway status. That is item number 52. So, and that was encouraged by the county. So that item needs to be approved for the general Triangle Air Park area as recommended by county. The second one has to do with the SDRE. And I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if you want me to address that now or when that item actually comes up.
Might as well go through it now.
The SDRE zoning. First of all, the county's been working with the Triangle Air Park for the past year and a half. Ms. Ballard is there. They've had numerous meetings. It is true that several, these 4 or 5 lots right here have violations. That's never been disputed. But what also is not brought about as part of this record is that those lots also applied like 12 years ago for CMO zoning, commercial manufacturing, open space zoning, and it was approved. Okay, commercial manufacturing open space zoning would allow someone to have a lot of open space on their lot. It was brought to his attention a few years ago that the CMO was never fully vested, and then they started these negotiations with the county. And if I'm off anywhere, the owners are all here, can firm this up. But the point is, the violation is there. The point is, it has to be cleaned up, and the point is, this owner is prepared to do it. The SDRE does not place any adverse burden on any property owner in the area. It is very simple. It allows, the only item that I plucked out of the manufacturing zoning is the cargo units, the ability to use cargo units to store information or to store storage stuff. The gentleman who was up here before said a lot of these lots are vacant. Well, a few years ago when there were violations, a lot of these gentlemen removed stuff so that they could get into compliance. There were additional equipment and other storage items. But they have a huge history of working with the county, not getting everything resolved, and this is the first chance in several years that they have an actual chance of being able to move ahead. This, I believe, has become quite personal. I think that I had asked, and the gentleman had agreed they were not going to get up here and start slinging mud at every meeting. It was not our proposal. They've been very professional. They want to move ahead. The SDRE zoning does not hurt anyone and will help them get some of these violations fixed and help them as an air park be able to move ahead. The owner is committed to getting this completed. He has to work with the county. There's nothing in here that would remove the requirement of any property owner to get in compliance again. This just allows them the use of cargo units. So I'm sorry it's got to this point. Of course, we have numerous pictures we could show you too, but that really isn't our goal. Our goal is to be able to move ahead. And the item that he brought up with the violations will be able to be addressed. The gentlemen are all here to speak, and they've given you sign-in sheets if you'd like to hear all of their stories. I really think that this has gone way beyond what our request is, so this is a simple request to move forward, and the county will be able to use up to and including court mandates to get this stuff cleaned up. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
I have a question. You say if we approve this, then they can get into compliance. Why aren't they in compliance today? Why do we have to change it to let them get into compliance?
Well, it's not that they have to. First of all, it's 24 property owners as opposed to just, you can see the 4 or 5 lots here that are out of compliance, and they've been working with the county, and the county has had the ability to go through and push them to court to get in compliance. But because of the previous approvals of CMO, because of the previous submission of a manufacturing zoning, we've been trying to work through a process, with the county to get this done. So I don't know exactly why in the past few years it hasn't been pushed beyond, but I believe it's because everyone's been working in good faith to get it done.
The only question I had, thank you.
I just wanted to bring up one more item. Last time we spoke about the issues that I think have thrown this simple application off course have to do with the violations, which will be resolved and can be, and the county is in control of that and not us. Secondly, the M zoning application that was submitted previously about 4 months ago, if this were approved today, as the P&Z has recommended, that manufacturing zoning would be withdrawn. And also there was a discussion on the cargo units, whether or not those should remain some type of a neutral color, white or tan or something, and the property owners are fine with that. The 24.
Thank you. Lloyd Beadle.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors. My name is Lloyd Beadle, Triangle Air Park, Lot 4. I'd like to go on record as being opposed to any rezone at Triangle Air Park, but should the Board of Supervisors consider any type of rezoning at the park, I would ask that any and all storage containers, Connex boxes, etc., not be allowed to be stacked one on the other and be included in the total allowable amount of outside storage per lot. In regards to setbacks, the current CC&Rs at Triangle Air Park state no building shall be constructed within 30 feet of any property line common to a taxiway or runway, or within 10 feet of any adjacent lot. I would ask that these setbacks be maintained. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. George Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Supervisors. I represent Mr. Draney, who's also here, a property owner in the subdivision. I have provided you our written comments with specific and detailed items that we object to with respect to the specifics of the applications that have been filed. I guess number one, the board could deny this outright, which is by some of the lots in the subdivision, and Ms. Ballard and her staff could move to enforcement. Second option is to recognize that something needs to be done here. It's just that we disagree with some of the specifics of what they've proposed. First of all, with respect to the zoning use permit, and I believe in my written items, and I've given you sample language that we would propose to you to address some of these issues. The big problem is, overall, anything that's done needs to be conditioned on getting into compliance on a timetable before it becomes effective, at least as to the violating lots. Second thing is, with the zoning use permit, it's very broad in two items that really aren't necessary to use the airstrip for the recreational hobby aircraft use. One is they talk about a future fuel operation. That's not appropriate to do at this time. If you're going to have a fuel operation with fuel storage and all the environmental requirements, you need to carve that out and deal with that if and when somebody's really ready to come forward with a site plan to do that. The second thing is there are some rather egregious examples, and I think we've distributed some of the pictures previously, of inoperable aircraft and machinery. You need to make certain that whatever is done with the zoning use permit is limited to operable aircraft and equipment. If it's inoperable, you know, it needs to be inside your hangar being worked on to be repaired. And since we've combined all of these items, I'm going to talk a little bit about the SD zoning. The setbacks need to match and mirror the CC&Rs exactly, word for word. We've again provided you that language. You've seen the language. Standard stuff doesn't really work here because you use items as a taxiways, but they should be consistent. We don't want to have the area where there's arguments and disputes about what's in the CC&Rs and what's authorized by the county. They need to match just for ease of enforcement and consistency. If we're going to expand the density, and maybe we need to, we propose 25% coverage. They want 40%. 25% allows ballpark on most of these lots about a 20,000 square foot building. That's enough to accommodate a hangar. Outside storage, we propose 1,500 square feet. They propose 2,000. And I think the major issue here is, what do you do about cargo containers? They basically want unlimited cargo container storage. We originally suggested that you set, a number limit, 4, for example, which would match the 1,500. 6 or 7 would match the 2,000. County staff has proposed a bifurcated program that says if they become structures, they become permitted and can't count against their coverage for structures. If they're not, then they count against the open storage, and that works. But it's a little bit more complicated. It would, depending on the amount of open storage, be in the same ballpark that we propose. I mean, that's kind of our take on it, is something needs to be done, but what they propose is way too open-ended, way too loose. Tries to give them open authority to do things without having county review. And given the track record of performance, I think you should be very cautious about giving them open-ended areas where they're allowed to exercise discretion. There has been a history of non-compliance in this subdivision by some of these specific owners, and I think that ought to be of concern to you. Something needs to be done, but you need to basically lay some fairly specific parameters and make people come back to you if they want to do something different than that. The items that we have proposed, I believe, are an adequate accommodation for the needs of this subdivision, but giving specific requirements that allow the county to maintain some control. We would suggest you do that and approve it in accordance with the conditions and limitations that we have set forth. If there are any questions, I'd be willing to entertain them.
Any questions? No questions. No, thank you, sir. I have quite a few gentlemen who signed up in support. Ms. Tick said that you might want to waive your time, or do you all want to speak? We can put your names and addresses in as in support, or would you all like to come step forward and give us your support? Whichever way, it's up to you. Bruce Barton, would you like to come up or just?
My name's Bruce Barton. I've been a resident of Triangle Air Park since 2005, and I would like to have it approved the way it was submitted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Robert McBride.
I'm Robert McBride. Thank you for listening to my plea. As you can see from the presentation, first off, I'd like to go into the ZUP. Those that are opposed to the ZUP, which basically says we're an airport, evidently don't want us to be an airport. Now, the county wanted us, we had a ZUP originally, and then we got away from it into a private property airport. The county wanted a ZUP, and the only thing we were hesitant about was that at the first one, we had no recourse to go to court and fight it if the county commissioners suddenly decided they didn't like it. And that was negotiated with the county and accepted. So the primary thing is, we have a problem at Triangle Air Park. We're taking care of it, and this isn't the first problem we've had at Triangle. There has been other lots, like Lot 16 or 18, one to two, that had more junk, and I mean real junk. And when the person finally passed away, the club bought it and cleaned it up. It has been done before, it will be done again. However, I'm very confused over if you decide that we can't have the ZUP or we can't have the SD until we clean up the existing infractions, under what rules do we do it? Do we move everything off of the properties? And then if we get approval for SD, do we go back and put it back in, only put it in containers? It's sort of confusing. As opposed to the ZUP, I see no reason why you gentlemen shouldn't just approve it, because we're an airport. We can operate as an airport as a private one, even without it. As far as the SDs, I strongly recommended that I approve it and would hope that you folks could see your way to it too. It gives us an avenue to store material that we need for maintaining aircraft. Now, there's not one resident at Triangle Air Park that is not in accordance with us. These people represent the residents. These are the non-resident property owners. And I don't see any plans for them building residence there. Any questions?
No, thank you, sir.
You.
Mr. Dan Frady?
Good morning, Supervisors. I'm Dan Dufresne. I've been a resident at Triangle Air Park for 22 years, and I don't want to add anything to what McBride just said. I agree with everything he said, but the only thing I'd like to mention is something I've heard here today about the 30-foot setback. That has nothing to do with wing clearance. The 10-foot setback is what has to do with the wing clearance. It can be nothing over a foot high. In the 30-foot setback, that's just to a building. You can have fences or anything else. I think they're just bringing this up to cloud the issue. Anyway, I hope you will approve both these issues today. Thank you,
sir. Mr. Frank Partridge?
Good morning, Supervisors. My voice is a little bit hoarse this morning. I can only reiterate what Mr. Dufresne and Mr. McBride have said. I might also add that the complainers are not even county residents. They all live out of state, and none of them are residents of Triangle Air Park. Thank you very much. I would urge you to approve 52 and 53.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jim Robinson.
Jim Robinson, 495, 20,495 Cessna. And I hope that the supervisors will approve as filed and recommended also, and agree with some of the other comments from the homeowners. And Triangle Air Park has never been an association or had one. It developed from the Boulder City Aero Club, and it's never had a homeowners association. It has never been one, or a property owners association, or any such. And I heard references made to things like that that, again, I think clouds issues for you folks that really shouldn't be. Hope you can move forward and approve this as filed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Walt Stout.
Ladies and gentlemen, supervisors, my name is Walt Stout. I live at Triangle Air Park. I own the property which is considered to be the most in violation. I'd like to remind that back in '98, I applied for and received CMO zoning on this property as well as one of the club lots 14. And I've operated this property in compliance with CM zoning since. But being as these issues have come up, I've agreed to make a concession and go along with ASD zoning and clean my property up to match the requirements of the SD zoning as the Planning and Zoning Commission will enforce. And I request that you would approve both of these issues today so that we can move on and get something done. I see nothing wrong with any of it. It looks to me like it would be great for everyone. I believe this has become a personal issue, and I don't want to get involved into that. Any questions, gentlemen?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jack Burns.
Good morning, supervisors. My name's Jack Burns, and I've lived at Triangle Air Park for 18 years. And first of all, I'd like to say for rezone of the air park to make the air park legal to operate as an airport. I don't understand why any of our members would object to that. After all, we are a flying club, and that's supposed to be what the whole purpose of the air park was. So why somebody would object to that is beyond me. So I would request that you approve our request to have Triangle Air Park in a residential area. And I guess we're talking about 52 and 53 both right now, since I thought it was going to be a separate discussion. But in any case, I'll move on to 53 then, and I would request that you approve as the commissioners had recommended and approved before, that we have the use of containers. I would like to have the maximum use of my property. I don't have any plans for any particular thing, but I would like to be able to use the property to its maximum capability, and I would request you approve that as the commissioners did. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. David Dyer.
Good morning. I'm one of the rare outsiders from Nevada that actually wants you to approve 52 and 53. When I started using Triangle Air Park, I saw what was there, and I decided that that was the kind of lifestyle that I wanted to enter into. I've been a pilot now for 49 years and a mechanic for 50 years. And some of the comments that I hear from those who are opposing this, one of them in particular I wanted to touch base with you is that he asked that all aircraft and aircraft parts be flyable. Well, look at your own airport at Kingman. How many of those airplanes you have stored out there are flyable? And I think the whole point of this is that I'm glad you're doing what you're doing at Kingman Airport, because airplane parts and airplane storage and the efforts of maintaining this aviation business is very difficult and very tedious. You don't throw anything away, you keep it. And you take a place like Triangle Air Park, these guys built this thing out of nothing. They used not much money. You know, if you look at the budget between Triangle Air Park and Kingman, it's millions versus tens of thousands. And they did this the hard way. They scrounged. We've got equipment out there that they have drug up from, you can't believe it. It doesn't even look like it runs. But you know what? They can get it running, and they can make the taxiways and the drainage and the runways. It's amazing what these people have created out there. And as for containers, you know, we need to save every airplane part we can. You just don't throw it away. And the equipment and piping and steel and all that sort of thing that we used and have used all these years, we need the storage for this stuff. We've offered to make 2 concessions that we've pledged, that we will paint the containers a neutral color, all the same color. We will make it look as good as we can. We don't want to be restricted on how many flyable airplanes or unflyable airplanes that we need. Anyway, I urge you to vote for just as submitted. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Mr. John Altentop.
Good morning. My name is John Altentop. I'm a resident in Triangle Air Park. And I wish you consider voting for the 52 and 53 changes. I used to own an airport in Colorado. And we never used to have that kind of problems over there. So as a resident, I would hope that you consider it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else who'd like to address the board? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Do you have any questions of staff? I have a few questions. Ms. Ballard, I hear this referred to as a homeowners, manufacturing, flying club, air park. What is this? It sounds like it's someplace they're residential homes, but then they could be an air park, they could be an airport, they're manufacturing. I want to make sure that the regular citizen out here who has, what size are these lots, I guess? What's an average size lot? Can you tell me that?
Mr. Chairman, I believe the average size lot is probably a little over 1 acre in size.
Okay, well, we've got a ton of 1 acre lots in Mohave County, and I want to make sure that the average guy out there who has a place, let's say he doesn't have airplanes, he has cars or motorcycles, these gentlemen are asking to have open lot storage. It sounds like more than the regular homeowner would have. That we're not making a special exception for somebody, and if we are going manufacturing, is this being taxed as manufacturing? Is this being taxed as a single family resident? Is this an air park? Do you know any of this, or can you straighten me out on it?
Mr. Chairman, under item 53, the zoning would change from an RE zone to an SDRE zone. The RE zone is residential recreational, and essentially the zoning would remain under that SDRE. A few items would change. One of the items that would change is the amount of, well, start with the setbacks. The setbacks will, our normal front setback is 20 feet. In an RE zone, it'll become a 10-foot. Our lot coverage is based on the size of lots, based on the size of lots. Under the proposal, there would be an increase to 40%. We normally count cargo containers as part, if they're not, in this bifurcated process that Mr. Cummings talked about, that's our normal process. If the cargo container is not recognized as a building, does not have an approved building permit under the building code, then it's considered part of the open lot storage. What they're proposing is that system be done away with, and that the containers be allowed without obtaining a building permit, and but counted in as part of the lot density or the overall lot coverage, as opposed to the open lot storage.
And would that be different than, say, anybody here who has an acre lot somewhere? Is that we calculate it different for this group than we are for
Yes, yes, that would mean that we would calculate that different for.
And Planning and Zoning recommended that?
The department has, as one of the speakers noted, the department's was working with Triangle Air Park for well over 6 months. The reason is because the uses we were seeing out there were not completely fitting into a residential, what would be considered a normal residential listing of uses. We also recognized that given the type of subdivision it was reasonable to expect some of those uses to be there. And some of the, it was fairly reasonable for the open lot storage to be slightly more than it would be for your standard RE lot. So we began working with them, and I believe it was in the summer of 2011, to try and come up with some sort of special development zone to address basically the unique type of subdivision that this area is. Ultimately, we ran into some issues that we could not overcome, and we, at that point in time, just began enforcing the code that we had at hand. Many of the owners took it upon themselves to continue the process of trying to come up with a special development zone that better fit their needs. This is the result of that process. So to the department, it is a solution to a long-term problem that is probably not going to be resolved in the normal fashion. The department had received 12 complaints, 12 code enforcement complaints. There's only 24 lots out there, so half of our lots were in violation, or at least allegedly in violation. One of the premises for planning and zoning is that if you get a large number of the lots in violation of your ordinance at one time in one area, and it's an ongoing problem, you ask your question. The question is, what's wrong? Is it, the people that live in the area that's wrong, or is it the zoning that's wrong? And we did ask that question, and we did come out with a concept that the zoning was not a good fit for this particular location.
Well, then, hasn't this been in effect since '77? So between '77 all the way to 2012, or whenever these, say 2007, when it started being noticed, it got along just fine. Is it the county's fault for maybe these lots are too small to accommodate Air Park? I mean, maybe shouldn't they be a 2-acre parcel if they want to expand to have I mean, should it have even been 1 acre spots for an air park? I don't know. I just don't like having special rules for one group of people, because you know darn good well that now the car enthusiasts are going to come, or the motorcycle guys, or you know, hobby horse people, all going to want to go, well, these guys have it, how come you can't do it? That's the problem I'm seeing with this.
Yeah. Mr. Johnson, members of the board, I'm not sure prior to 1990 how much use this particular area received, or how many people were living there. It was a lot more sparsely populated than it is today. And quite frankly, we've had, the department's had on and off problems with Triangle Air Park since, I'd say, roughly about 1997. And I think that was alluded to in some of the discussions. You know, we'll get compliance for a while, but after a while, it drifts away. You know, the other thing too is that it's probably over the past 30 years, how the area is used has probably changed a bit. Small craft aviation has probably changed as well.
I think those are the only questions I have. I still don't understand where we're at. But Supervisor Watson, you have any questions? Or
no, I don't have any questions.
Supervisor Sockwell? No questions. You have a motion, anyone?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the adoption of the Board of Supervisors Resolution number 2012-166. I have met with the majority of the property owners, and we have a commitment for those violations to be brought to bear. So I'd like to, at this time, make that motion for approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Just for discussion, I'll be voting against this, not to the fact that your district, Supervisor Watson, I agree with you, but I just think that making special permits is going to cause us more problems. Okay, with no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion carries. Item number 53 is a public hearing, which I will open. Discussion, possible action, Board of Supervisors Resolution 2012-167 on the rezone. I have the same people who have signed up for this as signed up for the last one. I think everybody addressed their issue. Is there anybody who feels they did not get a fair public hearing and would like to address the board again? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Supervisor Watson, Supervisor Sockwell, do you have any other questions, or do I have a motion?
I have nothing.
No further questions.
Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the adoption of Board of Supervisors Resolution number 2012-167. As I've met with the majority of the property owners, got their commitment from Mr. Stout, and he's agreed that he'll get this in compliance within a year. They've also made concessions on making sure that the lot storage units will be painted in a neutral or neutral color. So I think there's a great deal of commitment from this group, and I move for the adoption.
Do we have a second?
Second motion.
No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Aye. Motion carries. We'll take a short recess, allow the room to clear out. Call the meeting back to order. We had pulled item number 20 off the consent. I'll go back to item number 20, approve agreement number 1 to contract 11-P-06, Internet Tax Lien Auction Services to Grant Street Group, Pennsylvania, extending the contract 1 additional year. Do I have a motion to accept or deny?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept
Second.
auction services of Grant Street Group.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 54 is a public hearing, which I will now open. Adoption Board of Supervisors Resolutions 2012-184. I have no one signed up. Would anybody like to address the board in this item? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Do I have a motion on item number 54, Board of Supervisors Resolution 2012-184?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. And further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 55A is a public hearing, which I will open. Discussion, possible action. Board of Supervisors Resolution 2012-185. I have no one signed up for this. Is there anyone public who would like to address the board? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion on item number 55?
Motion to approve item 55A.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Item number 55B is a public hearing, which I will open. Adoption Board of Supervisors Resolution 2012-186, a rezone. I have no one signed up. Is there anyone here who would like to address the board? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Do I have a motion on 55B?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Item number 56A is a public hearing, which I will open. Board of Supervisors Resolution 2012-187, amendment to South Mohave Valley Area Plan. I have no one signed up. Is there anyone here in the public who would wish to address the board? I have someone stepping forward. Please state your name and address, please, sir.
Yes, Supervisor, Mr. Chairman Johnson, and Supervisors Sockwell and Watson. My name is Chuck DeWald. I'm from Territorial Engineers, and I am representing the applicant for this project and also for 56B. I'll address both comments at this project at the same time. And this first one is the area plan amendment, and the second one is the rezone. This project, known as Westview Estates, is a infill project between two projects, one that's already constructed and one that had an approval, I believe, just last month at the Honorable Board. So our project is just very similar to those two. I consider it an infill because that's what it is. I also think that this project will also go a long ways at addressing some of the traffic issues in the area that were of major concern for a number of years. We're going to extend Valencia Road all the way from Mountain View to the Highway 95, along the existing alignment that's there. So with this, I'd like to say that I hope you will approve both these two items, 56A and 56B, and I'll entertain any questions you may have.
All right. It's just the public hearing right now. I don't think anybody has any questions at this point. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
No.
No question.
Does anybody else would like to address the board? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing.
I'd like a motion to approve item 56A.
Second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 56B is a public hearing, which we will open. Adoption Board of Supervisors Resolution 2012-188. I have no one signed up. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board on item 56B? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing.
Motion to approve item 56B.
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 57 is a public hearing, which we will open. Adoption Board of Supervisors Resolution 2012-189, zoning use permit. I have no one signed up. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the board? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing. It's the pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 58, discussion possible action, approve the proposed settlement North Point LHC LLC versus Mohave County property tax valuation appeal. I would make a motion for discussion on this. We carried this over from the last meeting.
Motion for discussion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Matt Smith or somebody here from the attorney's office to answer questions.
Dolores Milkey, Civil County Deputy.
The question I have on when somebody files a tax appeal, they show up and they obviously claim that the assessor's office or the county is charging them more than what they are assessing them for more than what they believe their property is worth. Is that kind of how it works?
Generally, that's correct.
Do they sign any kind of a form to you saying, under penalty of perjury, I say that my property is only worth X amount of dollars, or do they just come?
No, they file their complaint with the court, which is considered to be essentially swearing to the facts that are within the complaint.
Okay. With this one that we have in front of us, I would make a recommendation to the board, unless the county attorney's position is different. This gentleman, they only paid $230,000 in a foreclosure, which I have no problem with. It's almost 93 acres. They came to Mohave County and said, we only think it's worth $230,000, even though it gets as close to the water in Lake Havasu as you can be. But they have it up for sale for $2 million. So I think the assessor's original assessment was right on the money.
And
I would like to,
actually, that is not what the assessor would agree with. The property sold for $230,000. Apparently, it will take at least $2 million to get water rights to be able to develop this property. So the $230,000 is well within the range. Also, there are 24 different comps that the assessor has looked at, and the $230,000 is actually towards the top of those 24 comps. So the assessor stands by their agreement to reduce this to $230,000.
You are telling me that the assessor's office says that now almost 93 acres of land sitting, what is it, 100 foot from the lake is only worth $230,000? I have people in this room who are sitting in houses that pay more than taxes on that.
That is my understanding. Of course, the assessor can more properly provide you that information. But as a practical matter, with the assessor's opinion and with the taxpayer's complaint, the probability of going forward and being successful in court is not very high.
But this guy has it up for sale for $2 million. Obviously, he thinks it's worth $2 million, or at least more than $230,000.
Again, the assessor can more properly address that for you.
Well, I guess maybe if, thank you, Ms. Milky, maybe the assessor wants to come up and explain that, but.
Good morning, Supervisor Johnson, Supervisor Sockwell, Supervisor Watson. My name is Ken Fielder. I'm the Chief Appraiser for the Mohave County Assessor's Office. This case does involve parcel 120-04031, which is a 92-acre vacant land parcel that's located west of Highway 95 in the Lake Havasu area. We have an area map here. I have another map that will show the parcel in greater detail. It's a vacant land parcel. It does have some topography issues. The case was filed based on a sale at $230,000. We have an affidavit of sale, which I would like to bring your attention to, and this is signed under penalty of perjury. The sales price is $230,000. It was April of 2012. It was an all-cash transaction. The seller was DHB Real Estate, care of New York Community Bank. buyer was North Point, Lake Havasu, out of San Juan Capistrano. The purchase price appeared to be a bargain purchase price, possibly a foreclosure, yet I would remind the board and the audience that for the past 2 years, virtually 40 to 60% of all of our sales in the county have been foreclosures. The Department of Revenue, Arizona Department of Revenue, and the appraisal literature recognize that foreclosures at this level are representative of the market. The Arizona statutes and the court has determined that if a plaintiff is successful in a tax court case, even if the full cash value is reduced by $1, they are eligible to be reimbursed for their costs of filing, their expert witness fees, their appraisal fees, their attorney's fees, etc., limited to $30,000 per appeal level. Based on those facts, the assessor, working in conjunction with the county attorney's office, performs a cost-benefit analysis on virtually all of the cases that we bring before you to determine if it's cost-effective to go to Phoenix to go to trial. In this particular case, the assessor is aware of the tax court case, obviously. We're aware of the sales price at $230,000. We also have looked at comps, and what our experiences showed us is that large acre parcels are not selling in Mohave County. And if you look, we stratified the sales. We stratified between 45 acres and 160 acres. This is a 92.33 acre parcel. We've only had 24 sales in the past 2 years, with the median sales price at $622 per acre. This particular settlement that we're asking you to approve would be the yellow highlight, which is at $2,491 per acre. So moving forward, I had asked the assessor, since Mr. Johnson, Chairman Johnson, requested this item be moved from the consent agenda to the regular, I asked the assessor if I could have permission to address you, and he told me no, that he would contact you. He called me and told me that you had indicated that you believed the property was for sale at a price considerably higher than what we're bringing to you. But I asked him, did you have a copy of the listing? And he said no, and that you could not provide the name of the agent. So based on that, I immediately called our appraisal staff, asked them to visit the property once more to see if there was any signage indicating a sale, or if they could check with a friendly realtor, because the Mohave County Assessor's Office does not have access to the Ward X multiple listing service. They've refused to allow us to be a member, and they've refused to give us access to their database, even though the Assessor's Office has given them database access on multiple occasions. The result of that was there was a for sale sign, and it led to an internet listing, and you're correct, Chairman Johnson, that it's a $2 million sales price. Over the weekend, we contacted the listing broker, and he shared correspondence, which I have, from their engineering firm that says that if the property is to be developed as a subdivision, they do not have currently the water allocation from the city of Lake Havasu. They're going to have to buy water rights, and they estimate that that cost is $2 million. So we see that as a cost to cure. So in summary, there is a sale at $230,000. We have 24 comps that say that that's a reasonable sales price. We also have information from the plaintiff's broker indicating that there's a cost to cure of approximately $2 million, and that's why we're asking you to reduce this value from $1.9 million to $230,000.
I guess I understand that they did buy it in a foreclosure and it was $230,000. I have no problem with anybody buying a house or a piece of property for $230,000 and saying, hey, I'm going to live in that, and that's what I believe it's worth. But when they turn around and decide that it's worth $2 million if somebody else wants to live in it, it seems to me that they should be paying their fair share of taxes that the rest of the people of Mohave County said. Now, I don't know,
Mr. Ekstrom might be able to tell us. I don't want to get us into legal problems, here. I don't know if we need an executive session to go over the legal ramifications of doing this, but it seems like we're making I mean, I could probably have people in this room, I bet we'd have over half of them would stand up that are paying, or assessed more than $230,000 on their homes just in here, and they don't own that much land. And I realize you have your other comps on a lot of land, but I don't know that that's all lakefront property. I know that's pretty expensive property.
No, this is Lakeview, not Lakefront.
But it's as close in Lake Havasu as you can get to the.
I understand.
Yeah. I mean,
and we share your concern.
Yeah.
But I think the problem that we face is we've got a sales affidavit at $230,000. We've got a tax court case, and if we go to trial, we most likely will lose. But it's your choice. We'll be happy to go to trial.
Right. I mean, I don't want to put the county in a liability issue, but at the same time, I don't want to let somebody walk away with a big chunk of change on us. I don't know, what's the feeling of the board? I've been kind of dominating the time.
I think the best thing to do at the present time is go ahead and hold the $230,000 value. If he sells the property for $2 million, we got him then.
Very well put, Supervisor Stockwell.
Is that in the form of a motion, Supervisor Stockwell?
Yes, it is.
Has a second on that?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 59, discussion possible action, approve January 2nd as a regular Board of Supervisors meeting and remove January 7th as a regular meeting. I place this on. I would make a motion for discussion.
Second.
Going over our meeting schedule for next year, I noticed that the 7th hadn't been removed. I know the last time we had the meeting, we changed the date from the 7th to the 2nd, so I just wanted to clarify our board and clean it up so that we had just the one date on there. So.
I think the original, May.
Sure.
I think my original intent was to have the first meeting as soon as possible on January 2nd. Have the new people sworn in. If they wanted to bring items to the meeting on January 7th, it would give them time to do that.
What is the purpose of the January 2nd meeting then? I guess that's what I don't understand. And I don't think they'll have enough time to the 7th meeting either, will they?
The deadline for a January 7th meeting would be December 27th.
Okay, so I would certainly like to have two meetings in January. One, January 2nd, in order to get the new people sworn in and address several items at that meeting, and then have all the regular business possibly on the week following, so we could regularly agendize those items. Would that be January the 14th, the next possible date? That would really be my preference.
I would rather just say if we're going to have a meeting in the 2nd, we have a regular board meeting in the 2nd. Move it from the 7th to the 2nd if that's what everybody wants to do.
Well, there would be two meetings, one on January 2nd, in order to bring our people on board, bring the new people on board. 4 or 5 items on that agenda, I believe, were to include the county manager, interim appointment, and several other items. All the other normal business, I would recommend that we entertain that item on January 14th in order for the new board members to add any items that they would like on the regular agenda for the 14th.
I think we already have, the problem we're going to have with that is we post things that with 30-day notice, and that's the thing that planning and zoning and those issues need to come forward.
Right now, the January 2nd meeting was determined to be a special meeting, and the January 7th meeting was left as the regular meeting. If we go to the 14th, our deadline would be January 3rd.
Right. So January 2nd, we have the special meeting. Any items that the new people would like to put on the agenda for January 14th, they would have 24 hours in which to do that. That's my recommendation in motion.
So your recommendation is to cancel the 7th and go to the 14th and have a meeting on the 2nd and the 14th?
Correct.
I believe that we should just have one on the 2nd, and that would be the only one that they can call for one after the board's seated for whatever they want to do. We have no idea, or at least I have no idea what the other 3 new members would like.
Well, and having a January 2nd meeting as a special meeting for those items that would be listed, then the new people can come on board, have 24 hours in which to then agendize anything that they would like to have for the regular meeting on January the 14th.
Well, I think that they have that availability right now by contacting yourself or me to say, you know, there's something we'd like to address on the meeting. I have no problem putting something on the agenda, nor do I figure you do either, for that matter. I guess, do you have a motion for yours? Well,
yes, I do. I'd like to make a motion for the special meeting on January 2nd, 2013. Our regular meeting to be January the 14th, 2013.
Is there a second on that?
Mr. Chairman, I don't feel like I have a dog in this fight.
One last fight?
Mm-hmm.
Chairman Johnson, we would also have to cancel the meeting for the 7th that was already still set in that motion.
I'll amend my motion then to include the removal of the January 7th meeting.
I think this item is a moot point. Seeing no resolution, we will move on to the next item. Item number 60, discussion possible action report from Deputy County Manager Mike Hendricks. Going to provide us some costs of the tours. Mr. Hendricks, sir.
Chairman Johnson, Supervisors Sockwell and Watson, good morning. At your November 12th meeting, a motion was made by Supervisor Watson, seconded by Supervisor Sockwell, and unanimously carried to direct staff to prepare an overall briefing for county-run operations to the newly elected officials, including a hands-on tour of county facilities. To this end, at the close of today's meeting, we have arranged for the sitting elected officials and management staff to provide the newly elected supervisors with an orientation consisting of brief department overviews. Further, as directed, we have scheduled to take the newly elected board members on a hands-on tour of county facilities. Per Chairman Johnson's request to provide a cost estimate of the tours, I offer the following. The tour will consist of deputy county managers functioning as tour hosts, transporting the newly elected supervisors to and from the various buildings. The tour is anticipated to include a very basic walkthrough of facilities, briefly identifying functional and operational areas within the buildings, and having the newly elected supervisors be introduced to available employees. We anticipate these walkthroughs will be performed fairly quickly with very minimal disruption to the individual county employees and operations. Cost for the tour is estimated as follows. Transportation attributable cost would include rental of a motor pool vehicle and transportation to and from the facilities. We will be renting one 8-passenger van from our motor pool for 4 days at $22 per day. We estimate the van having to travel a total of 250 miles at 27 cents per mile. Total rental and mileage cost is estimated to be around $160. Meals, if we do provide meals, given there may be days where the tours will not extend past lunch. For the sake of estimating costs, I would suggest we estimate 12 meals at $10 per meal, equating to about $120. Salaries, as discussed at our November 5th meeting, no additional funding will be necessary for regular staff time associated with the tour due to the cost of staff being already included within the current funding of our county operations. As far as total outside attributable costs, we're looking at less than $200.
You're talking about staff time. This is staff that, like yourself, is supposed to be designing a bridge or something, not out driving people around. I was just curious, as I was seeing the schedule, where there's an awful lot of time taken up by department heads that are being funded through other sources. I was just saying, if we have to transfer money, then we need to transfer money into those departments to cover their costs. That's all what I'm looking at is that figure, because you have a tremendous amount of staff hours already just to put this together. You've got probably over 100 staff hours tied up in this already. And it's a pretty good deal if you're getting the vehicle. Motor pool's only charging 26 cents. I thought we just approved 56.5 cents today, but.
Mr. Chairman, the 56 is a government rate that if you were charging your personal vehicle for a county business, that would be the rate that you charge. Motor pool, our charges consist of a per day charge plus a mileage charge. So our per day charge is, for this particular vehicle, is set at $22 per day, and then the per mileage charge is 27 cents per mile. Granted, there's a lot of staff time and effort that's going into this endeavor. One of the things that I would argue is by consolidating a tour to where we have all the newly elected board members together, I believe the county's effort in providing a tour for these newly elected officials will be considerably less than if they tried to visit these facilities individually, and the disruption to operations will be considerably less. You also have to weigh the new Board of Supervisors' educational experience into increasing their productivity and allowing them to hit the ground running when they start their office the first part of January. So, and on a lighter side, if I may, if we waited till after January to have this tour, we would end up paying the supervisors for their time, and they're not on the clock in December, so we're saving a little money there.
You have, with these tours and things, the motion was to take newly elected people, was to have a briefing, which was to include like our state senator, our new state legislature, to inform them of exactly what the county does, along with we have a new, other new county officials too, treasurer came in, but those people or anybody else and the public, so that they understand what the county does, and especially to be able to let the state people know that, you know, when they do cut our HERF funds, when they do cut funds that come to us, that there's actually departments here that rely on those funds. Now you've taken this into, this is just strictly for 3 elected people. This is not for all newly elected people. So you're working on people that is not open to all of our elected people to go on this tour?
Mr. Chairman, I might have to ask for interim manager Susie's help here, but it's my understanding that the invitations that went out were fairly extensive and did include those positions that were requested by you. In addition, originally we anticipated the presentations being only by management staff, and per your suggestion, you suggested that, and a very good suggestion, include the elected officials also. So we included that in the invitation to allow them to provide their presentations to a wide range of newly elected officials. Regarding the tour, one of the things that we had to take a look at is the legality and liability and logistics of trying to pull everybody together, the representatives and the state elected officials, to get their busy schedules coordinated in going from facility to facility. As you well know, our tour is going to take 4 days and is extremely extensive.
That's all I had. I had no other questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, Supervisor Johnson, the invitations that went out for the orientation was given to all supervisor-elect, which includes also yourself and Mr. Watson. We also sent out the invitations to our legislators, some representatives, and also the city council through their city clerk for the orientation, which is going to happen right after this meeting.
Thank you,
Mr. Rand, so how many people have RSVP'd on this or said they were
We have not received any RSVP from the outside. We have, I think, the supervisor-elect who will be coming to the orientation and also the tour, but we have not gotten any RSVP from the other officials that we have invited. So it may be that the tours will just be limited now to the supervisor-elect, although the orientation that would happen after this will be open.
I have no further questions.
I'd just like to say thank you to the staff for doing an exemplary job and understanding what my intention was and following through. And I think it'll be a very good opportunity for these new folks, newly elected folks, to gain a great deal of knowledge of Mohave County. Thank you very much.
All right, hearing nothing else, meeting is adjourned.